What's going on, Inspiration Nation? Let me help you create the perfect personalized addition to your fall tablescape. Something that feels warm and beautifully intentional for your next Friendsgiving or Thanksgiving gathering. To start, you're going to need to find your floral templates. You can search on Google. Personally, I love using Etsy. The variety there is unmatched. Once you're browsing, choose a few different templates that catch your eye. Feel free to play around with styles, thinking of your bouquet as your own mini centerpiece. Don't forget, you're also going to need to grab a leaf template. This detail is going to help us complete the arrangement. After downloading your templates, you're going to move on to cutting your flowers. Here, I'll be using a silhouette, and after I import my files, I'm going to open up the trace function underneath panels. If you're using a Cricut, when you import your file, you'll be able to remove the background before it goes to your design board. So as I said, I am using the trace function in order to get my cut templates. This is just another template that I'm using, and you're going to be able to feel free to make your florals any size that you want. For reference, my large flowers, they range from about 1.5 to 2.5 inches, and my smallest flowers are right around 1 inch or so. Just enough variation to add depth without overwhelming the bouquet. So here I'm just arranging, obviously, to cut them out on my silhouette. Now, if you do not have a silhouette or a Cricut, that is no problem. You can also always purchase printable templates, trace them onto cardstock, and cut by hand. And that's exactly what I'm doing here with my large dahlia. So once everything is traced, I'm going to start cutting out those petals. And here I'm just folding the paper so that I can cut out multiple petals at once. Now once everything is cut out, I'm going to curl each petal using scissors. A bone folder will work best, but of course I couldn't find mine when I'm filming this video, so scissors it is. Curling gives the petals a soft, natural bend, and it helps just make the bouquet take more form when you put all the flowers together at the end. So next I'm going to layer the dahlia, and when I start to glue each layer, I'm going to rotate it slightly so that the petals fall between the gaps of the previous layer. I also wanted to bring some visual contrast, so you'll see that I made the disc florets or the flowers center a different color, and I just did this to basically bring the bouquet to life. And here I am just forming the flower a little bit because it was a little flat when I put it together. Now this is the disc floret that I was talking about. I cut this out on my silhouette as well, and I'm just wrapping it one time with a pencil, and then I'm going to add another row just to make it a little thicker. And that's the final look for that floret. And then I'm going to put it in the center of my large dahlia for the contrast. Next, I'm going to do this small dahlia, which I cut out. And for kind of the wraparound flowers, I suggest that you only download these if you do have a die cut machine. It's just kind of hard to cut these by hand, and especially cutting multiple ones of these by hand. And again, I'm just forming this flower before the glue hardens. And that's my sort of smaller dahlia. Alright, let's start assembling the bouquet. You'll need pipe cleaners or floral wire. I'm using folded floral wire here, but I actually do recommend pipe cleaners because the extra thickness is going to give the bouquet some structure, and you'll find out why that's important later. We're going to add a dab of hot glue to the back of each flower and attach our stems. And just using sort of a scrap sheet of paper, you want to lock that stem in and press it on top like that. And we're going to do this for all of our flowers. Now, once all of your flowers have stems, you can start arranging them just like you would with real florals. You're going to begin with your largest bloom at the center and then fill in with your smaller flowers. And here I am bringing in some spray roses that I had left over from another project. If you want me to show you how to make these in another video, let me know in the comments. And there's my smaller dahlia. And right now I'm just tying the stems together in order for me to continue manipulating the bouquet the way I want it to really lay together. And I'm just positioning the leaves. And I want to attach my leaves to the back of my biggest flower. I did find these leaves also on Etsy. So again, I do recommend Etsy for the variety of flowers, foliage that you can find for this project. And again, I am just adjusting my flowers to where the bouquet will sit as naturally as possible. And I think that's perfect. So here's where the thickness of the pipe cleaners really helps. If you use floral wire, you're going to want to wrap some scrap paper around the stems to bulk them up a bit. This is going to give your bouquet a fuller base, which will make wrapping it much easier. Next, we're going to grab some handmade paper, and I usually get my handmade paper from Paper Source, but Blick also carries some really great options. And I've cut 2 squares of roughly equal size, laying one face up and the other face down. And then I folded the top sheet upwards so that I formed 2 peaks. And this is what's going to create the layered wrapping effect. And next we're going to take our bouquet and we're going to nestle it right in the center and gently wrap the paper around it. And you want to make sure that it's showing not the inside of handmade paper, because handmade paper tends to just be one-sided, and so that's why we did that flip with the one sheet face up and the one sheet face down, so that when we wrap it, it only shows the outside of the handmade paper, or the finished side of the handmade paper. And once you have the floral bouquet wrapped properly, you're going to secure it again with your glue gun. And this just gives it a really polished look. And to elevate it even further, I love adding a wrap of twine around the stems for that handcrafted finish. And here I'm just adding more glue to sort of close up the bottom of that floral wrap. And next, it is time to personalize your bouquet with a note or a name tag. If you're not comfortable with hand lettering, I do have worksheets available. The link will be in the description. And these little tags turn your mini bouquets into functional decor pieces, which double as place cards that your guests can take home. So I cut small strips of paper, wrote each guest's name on it, and then we're going to glue that tag to the front of the bouquet. If you want to elevate your look, you can try that with velvet ribbon, or you can use shimmered cardstock. And again, if you don't really know how to do hand lettering, then you can do a vellum overlay where you can trace your lettering. It's really up to you and the overall feel you want for your table. But personally, I think all of this look is a 10 out of 10 for fall gatherings. It adds charm, warmth, and just that personal touch that your guests will always notice. So remember, you can adapt this same idea for spring or summer events, just changing your color palette. But that is the final look. Let me know in the comments if you plan to try these mini bouquets for your Friendsgiving or Thanksgiving dinner. I love to see your creations. Thanks for watching.